He ended up being shot, and we...
You shot him?
Yes.
I set the fire. It wasn't to kill anybody, it was to ask, my way of asking for help.
I just kept asking God, please let me raise my children. I couldn't imagine them not being able to take care of themselves.
This is Rockville Correctional Facility, the largest women's prison in the state of Indiana, with more than 1,200 convicts. Lieutenant Brad Gray is taking me to Dormitory 5, one of the largest in the prison. Inmates here are allowed the freedom of the unit during the day. Come nighttime, they're locked in, 16 to a room. Are they told about one of the most difficult people in this unit? Kiana Ball is in for armed robbery.
Hello, I'm Trevor.
I'm Kiana.
How are you?
I'm good.
It's a very crowded space to be in.
Yes, it is. It's kind of odd being in a room with so many females and not really having your own personal space. Like, you have your own personal space, but it seems like it's not enough.
What's the atmosphere like when everybody's here?
It can be a little off balance, a little frustrating, because all the different moods and attitudes that it's like a lot of different personalities, and they tend to clash, and you have like half the room has their good days and then half the room has their bad days, so it's like, it's real crazy. It's real crazy.
Out of earshot of her cellmates, I asked to talk to Ball about her crime. In 2009, Kiana Ball and her boyfriend Carlton Wright attempted to steal a van at gunpoint. The owner, Rinaldo Santiago, resisted and was shot at point-blank range. This is Ball and Wright moments after the shooting. They hide their weapons in a nearby apartment block. When she was arrested, police discovered these guns in Kiana Ball's handbag.
How old are you now?
I'm 22. I will be 23 in November.
So you were 19 years of age?
Yes.
When you came to prison?
It's a lot to handle, and I have kids at home, so that makes it a little more harder to cope with than anything.
How many kids do you have at home?
I have 2 kids at home. I have a little girl, Brianna. She's 6. She'll be 7 July 16th. And I have a 4-year-old son, Zion. He will be 5 June 12th.
How were you caught? How were you found out?
We found ourselves in a jam with a guy that we had met, and things just got out of hand. And we were trying to rob him, and just things, like I said, things got out of hand, things got carried away, and he ended up being shot, and we...
You shot him?
Yes.
How severely was the victim hurt?
He was severely hurt on the left side of his face. The bullet came into close contact with his eye, and
You shot him in the face?
Yes, it came into close contact with the side of his face by his eye. Now he's permanently blind in his left eye.
Wow.
Yes.
What's your emotional response knowing what the consequence of your action was?
I didn't have any feeling at all about it. I didn't feel sorry about it. I didn't regret it. I didn't want to take it back. I didn't want to fix anything. I didn't feel bad at all. But after the fact, I felt bad, because it's like, this is an innocent man. I don't know him from anywhere. He doesn't know me from anywhere. He's never done anything to me, because we don't know each other. So when I thought about it, I was like, I almost took an innocent man's life.
And your sentence was?
My sentence was I signed a plea, pleading guilty to armed robbery with serious bodily injury, and I was sentenced to 30 years, due 15.
You have to deal too with the realization that the formative years of your children's development
Yes.
will go on
Yes.
without you.
It bothers me because like all the little things that I'm missing out on are all the little things that I would love to be there for. Like my son's first day of school, just all the little things is what are the most important to me. So it hurts.
It is quite conceivable that they might have been out of school by the time you
Yeah.
by the time you get out.
There's a possibility that's if I don't keep myself out of trouble and I keep down the path that I've found myself being on, getting into trouble constantly, in and out of lock. If I keep myself on that path, then I'll find myself not getting home to my kids until they're grown, and that's something I don't want to happen. I want to
almost until they're adults.
yes. So I would like to make it home to them before it's too late. I would like to be able to spend some time with them before they're too grown.
Kiana Ball is one of those who finds it extremely difficult to cope with life in prison, compounded by the fact that bad conduct has got her an additional 9 years.
Early chow! Line up!
Another day is beginning with Rockford. Although the majority of inmates here will be released into the community one day, prisoners talk endlessly about the years of family life they have missed. The story of one of the people here, though, is different. She watched her children grow up when, by law, she should have been doing life for murder. Linda Darby's story is remarkable by any standard. In 1972, she escaped from prison. She went on the run for more than 30 years, and in that time, managed to create an entirely new life. To evade capture, she abandoned the family and the town she knew. She set out to start again in a small town in Tennessee.
Darby's escape from the Indiana State Women's Prison was bloody.
I was scratched up and bloody and everything from going over the barbed wire.
For the past 30 years or so, the now 64-year-old has been living in Pulaski. Even Darby doesn't know how she kept her 30-year secret. Married with 2 children, 8 grandchildren, a playset is in the backyard. She cleaned houses for a living. Today, though, this fugitive has a message for people who believed her to be Linda McElroy and not Linda Darby.
This is who I am. This is who I am.
So you escaped and you decided to make a clean breast of it, start a new life.
I just changed my last name, changed 1 digit to my Social Security, and that's how I survived.
Were you always in a position where you were looking over your shoulder, wondering whether the next tap on your shoulder would be that of an arresting officer, a policeman, somebody in authority?
There's always the chance. I just kept asking God, please let me raise my children. I couldn't imagine them not being able to take care of themselves.
Did you ever confide in anybody at all about what had happened to you?
No.
There was nobody you felt you could talk to about your life in prison before?
I knew that if I involved them, then that would put them in the middle of it too. So no, I did not.
But it must be difficult when people talk about their lives. You know, you drift into talking about what you did earlier. How was it possible never to mention anything about your past to your closest friends?
It was hard. It was very hard. But I just kept it within.
On the day that policeman came to your house, on that fateful day, what were you planning to do on that day?
I had just got through working. I was working for cleaning house that day, and we had came in, fixed dinner, and I was sitting at the kitchen table smoking a cigarette. My daughter went to the door, and Joe Robinson, who was the policeman that came to the house, and I knew him for 30 years, he said, "I'm going to show you this picture. And Linda, tell me if you know who this person is." And I said, "It's me." He said, "No." He said, "I told them they were wrong." He said, "I've known you 30 years. I said, "Joe, what's the sense of me lying? I could sit here and lie all day to you, and fingerprints don't lie." I said, "You'd know it as soon as you took my fingerprints."
What did you say to your children?
I told them. And they said, "Mom, we're behind you 100% because we know you didn't do it." I told them that back in 1970, I was accused and convicted then of killing my my second husband.
What did they say?
They said, "We don't believe it. We know you didn't do it." And my husband said the same thing.
Were you surprised that you were an escaped prisoner for so long? Did it surprise you?
Mm-hmm.
And now?
And now, all I can do is try my best to work my way out legally, walking out the front door.
I've never heard a story of somebody who's been on the run for 35 years. I've never heard anything quite like it.
Linda Darby will probably die in this prison. But unlike the other women here, she has memories of 35 years of freedom. I'm back at Indiana Women's Prison. I'm here to see one inmate whose story I had found particularly disturbing. Cindy White has the unenviable record of being the longest-serving female prisoner in the state of Indiana. Release for her is unlikely. At the start of her sentence, she was a teenager. She's appealed against that sentence again and again.
Cindy White was in court again today, and her attorney asked the judge for just one thing.
That the court consider whether she was competent to stand trial at the time that she went to trial in 1976.
But the Johnson County prosecutor says Cindy White deserves to be in just one place.
In prison for the murder of a number of people.
6 people, Charles and Carol Robertson, with 4 of their children, who all burned in a fire that White set more than 20 years ago in this Greenwood neighborhood.
I set the fire. It wasn't to kill anybody, it was to ask, my way of asking for help.
But White now says that she was not fit to stand trial back in 1976. She claims that she had been traumatized by years of sexual abuse by her father and even by the people she eventually murdered. Today, Cindy White hopes that a judge will overturn her murder convictions.
None of her appeals has been successful. Her last was about 10 years ago.
Remember my extended family I said that I have
We were
created in
talking
here?
about that, yeah.
Well, this lady right here that's needle pointing, this is my daughter Evie.
All right. Hello, Evie.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Has she taught you a lot?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's probably the strongest woman I've ever met
Really? Why do you say that?
because I can't imagine being faced with what she's been faced with and staying as strong as she is.
Having been here for such a long time.
Yes. And I love her.
Here, it's kind of like you see what you get. We've all been kind of in the same boat, hurt, disappointed, despair. So when you can reach out to someone that's walked in your shoes, then it makes it easier.
So which is your
I'm in the
space?
bottom one,
Uh-huh.
the messy one. Welcome to my home.
Wow. Home which is shared with...
Yes, this is my bunkie. Would you introduce
Hello.
yourself? Cheyenne Pennington.
Hello.
And we get along really well. I'm mama to her, she says.
It's another
And-
member of your extended
Yes,
family.
I get them without even realize I have them.
And which is your bunk?
This is my bunk. This is where I am secluded in. I come
Wow.
in, and when I don't want to be bothered with somebody or just alone, I will pull out and get down there and hide for just a little bit.
You must have seen people come and go here over the
yeah.
years.
Yeah, this unit, there's a lot of ins and outs, what we call. They finish their time and they go home. And I really don't deal with them too much because, well, it hurts.
Because you see people who come here, you get to know them, and then they leave, and you stay.
Yeah, and it hurts. I'm not going to say it doesn't. Because I really wanted to have that hope of going home. But as it is now, I know what's for real, and I had to be in reality. I can't hope on false hopes.
But it's a recurring hurt because you see people come and go
Oh, yes.
constantly.
I'm excited to see them go home because I know that they're going to be doing something that I can't do. And that is be with their family. But I have made a family in here to take away the pain.
Why do they keep you? Why, in your mind, have they decided to keep you in these conditions?
I don't know. That's a question I ask all the time is, what is it that I am not doing? You know, if they tell me what it is that I can do to say, okay, yes, you can go, I'll be more than happy to. I'll be more than happy to do it.
You've been up for parole?
I've been up several times, and each time I'm refused. And I finally got tired because the disappointment. When I go up before him, I'm like, yes, this year I'm going home. I just know it. There's no other way. But I'm tired of doing that. And I'm tired of getting my feelings hurt. And I figured this way, if they haven't let me go in the 37 years that I have tried to go, they're never going to let me go. So I've got to make do with what I have and make the best of it.
How have you survived this for so many years?
I try to find somebody worse off than me. I try to find someone that needs a kind word, that needs a hug, that needs to be shown that they care. I need to care for something or someone. I want to love. I want to be loved.
It's a kind of escape from which there is, in fact, no escape.
Yeah. It's just that you find that thing that makes you want to say, okay, I'm going to be okay today, and hold on to it.
However you mentally come to terms with it, it's a very difficult adjustment to make.
I want something to show for my life, other than a DOC number.
A prison record number.
Right. And right now, I don't have it. There's nothing out there that says Sarah Cindy White exists, other than the number.
I eventually took my leave of Indiana and the many women behind bars in this state. The thoughts that stay with me are of horrendous crimes and the staggeringly long sentences. The thoughts, too, of wasted lives and the families left behind.